He sits down with daytime television's most controversial host. The answer might shock you. Before we dive into this explosive confrontation, the one that had producers scrambling and security on high alert, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments what you think really caused Joy Behar to storm off the set. Trust me, you won't see this coming. TheView studio felt different that morning. There was an electric tension in the air as Mark Wahlberg settled into the guest chair, his usual confident demeanor intact despite the early hour. Joy Behar, never one to shy away from controversy, had that familiar glint in her eye. Regular viewers knew it meant trouble was brewing. "So, Mark," Joy began, leaning forward with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Let's talk about your latest project. Another tough guy role, I see. Don't you ever get tired of playing the same character over and over again?" Mark shifted slightly in his seat, his jaw tightening just enough for the cameras to catch. "Well, Joy, I think if you actually watched my films instead of just reading the headlines, you'd see there's a lot more depth there than you're giving credit for." The other hosts exchanged glances. This wasn't the usual playful banter. "Oh, I watch plenty of movies, Mark. But let's be honest here," Joy countered. "You've built a career on essentially playing Mark Wahlberg in different costumes. The angry Boston guy with a heart of gold. It's like watching the same performance on repeat." The audience fell silent. Even Whoopi looked uncomfortable as she tried to jump in. "Well, I think what Joy is trying to say." "No, let Joy finish," Mark interrupted, his voice taking on that edge that made him famous in his younger days. "I'd love to hear more of her expert film analysis." Joy's eyebrows shot up. She wasn't used to guests pushing back this hard. "Expert analysis? Mark, you don't need to be a film critic to see patterns. You've been playing variations of the same character for 20 years. The troubled guy from the neighborhood who makes good. It's your entire brand." "My brand?" Mark's voice rose slightly and the camera operators instinctively zoomed in. "You want to talk about brand, Joy? Let's talk about yours. How long have you been playing the same character? The bitter comedian who tears down successful people because it gets laughs from an audience that feels better when others get knocked down a peg." The studio went dead quiet. Producers in the control room were frantically gesturing, but neither seemed to notice. Joy's face flushed red. "Excuse me, did you just call me bitter on my own show? I call it like I see it. You've made a career out of cheap shots and easy targets. When's the last time you actually built something instead of just tearing it down?" Sonny tried to intervene. "Maybe we should take a different direction here," but Joy was already on her feet. "You want to talk about building things? I've been in this business longer than you've been sober, Mark. I've built a career on speaking truth to power, not just flexing and posing for the camera." Mark stood up slowly, his height advantage suddenly very apparent. "Speaking truth? Is that what you call this? Because from where I'm standing, this looks like someone who's lost relevance trying to create drama for ratings." The camera caught Joy's hands shaking slightly. "Lost relevance?" Her voice cracked. "I've been speaking my mind on television since before you figured out how to string together a coherent sentence without a script. Don't you dare lecture me about relevance." Mark took a step closer, filling the room with his intensity. "Then start acting like it. Stop going for the easy laughs and actually engage with your guests instead of ambushing them with prepared gotcha moments." "Ambushing? You knew exactly what show you were coming on. If you can't handle a little pushback, maybe you should stick to action movies where the dialogue is simple enough for you to handle." The insult hung in the air like a slap. Mark's face went stone cold. Simple dialogue. That's rich. Coming from someone whose biggest contribution to comedy was standing next to funnier people and hoping some of it rubbed off. Joy's mouth fell open. In 30 years of television, she had never been spoken to like this on camera. "How dare you?" she whispered, her voice shaking with fury. "How dare you come on my show and disrespect me like this?" "Your show?" Mark shot back. "Last time I checked, this was called TheView, not the joy behind that other people are supposed to have opinions too." The control room was in chaos. The other hosts looked like they were watching a car crash in slow motion. Joy was pacing now, her voice reaching a pitch that made the audio technicians wheeze. "You think you can come in here and humiliate me? You think because you've got a few good movies under your belt that gives you the right to attack me personally? Attack you? I'm responding to you attacking me. You started this the moment I sat down. But the difference is I'm not hiding behind comedy. I'm telling you exactly what I think. What you think doesn't matter to me, Mark. You're a guest on my show and you will show me respect. Mark laughed, but there was no humor in it. Respect is earned, Joy. And right now you're not earning it. You're demanding it like some kind of queen bee who thinks she's untouchable. The tension was so thick it was almost visible. Security had started moving closer. Joy stopped pacing and turned to face him directly, her eyes blazing. Untouchable? You want to see untouchable? I've been doing television since you were still running around Boston getting arrested. I've survived network changes, co-host drama, and everything else this business could throw at me. I don't need some reformed troublemaker telling me how to do my job. Reformed troublemaker. There it is, Mark said, his expression hardening. You can't argue with what I'm saying, so you go straight for the personal attacks. Bring up my past because that's all you've got. Your past is part of who you are, Mark. You can't just pretend those years didn't happen because you've cleaned up your image for Hollywood. I'm not pretending anything. I own my mistakes. But at least I learned from them. You're still making the same ones you were making 20 years ago. Still going for the cheap shot instead of having an actual conversation. Whoopi tried desperately to regain control. Whoopi. No. Joy cut her off sharply, never taking her eyes off Mark. I want to hear more about how I'm doing my job wrong from someone who thinks acting tough makes him an expert on everything. Mark shook his head, a bitter smile at the corners of his mouth. Acting tough, Joy? You have no idea what tough actually is. Tough is owning your mistakes, learning from them, and trying to be better, something you clearly know nothing about. Don't you dare lecture me about being better. Joy's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. I've spent my entire career fighting for what's right, speaking up for people who don't have a voice. What have you done besides make action movies and pretend to be deep in interviews? Pretend to be deep? Mark stepped closer again. I've put my money where my mouth is. I've created jobs, supported charities, helped kids in my old neighborhood. What have you done besides complain about people who are actually making a difference? Making a difference? You make movies, Mark. You're not curing cancer. You're an entertainer who's gotten way too comfortable believing his own hype. Mark's laugh was harsh. Believing my own hype? That's perfect coming from someone who thinks being loud equals being right. You don't want conversation, Joy. You want submission. My prepared talking points. At least I do my homework. At least I come prepared instead of just winging it and hoping my charm will carry me through. Charm? Mark's voice was incredulous. Is that what you think this is about? This is about respect, Joy. Something you clearly don't understand. You think because you've been here longer, you can treat people however you want. Joy was trembling now. I treat people the way they deserve to be treated. And right now you're acting like an arrogant has-been who can't handle being challenged. The word hit Mark like a physical blow. Has-been. His voice was a quiet mic-capturing whisper. A has-been, Joy. I'm at the top of my career right now. My last 3 movies made more money than your entire network pulls in during a good quarter. But money isn't everything, is it? Because if it was, you'd be treating me with a little more respect. Joy's eyes flashed. Oh, now we're talking about money. How very Hollywood of you. Reduce everything to box office numbers because that's the only way you can measure worth. I'm pointing out that maybe, just maybe, someone who's having the kind of success I'm having might know something about what works, but you can't hear that because your ego won't let you. My ego. You want to talk about ego? You're the one who can't handle a simple question about your career choices without turning it into a personal attack. Simple question. Joy. You didn't ask me a question. You delivered a prepared insult disguised as commentary. There's a difference. And the fact that you can't see it is exactly the problem. Whoopi made another attempt. Maybe we should take a commercial break. No, both Joy and Mark said simultaneously. Joy continued, her voice rising. I want to finish this. I want America to see exactly what kind of person Mark Wahlberg really is when he doesn't get his way. Mark stared at her, his expression shifting to something almost like pity. Joy, everyone can see exactly what kind of person you really are. You're a bully who's gotten so comfortable in your position that you've forgotten how to have an actual conversation. You've forgotten to listen. A bully? Joy's voice rose to a near shriek. Did you just call me a bully on my own show in front of my own audience? Yes, I did. Because that's what this is. You invited me here not to have a conversation, but to tear me down for entertainment. And when I pushed back, you got angry because no one's supposed to fight back. Well, guess what?